We are now seeing some pretty large updates behind the SEC versus Ripple case, and we definitely have to talk about it, but also there is a much larger problem beyond the SEC that I keep telling you guys to focus on, because a lot of what we are seeing from the SEC is nothing but noise, and we have to address this. If you guys want to absolutely crush this market, I mean making sure that your long-term, your mid-term, and even your short-term goals are being hit in this space, you guys need to be in the Discord. I have a complete free section and a complete paid section as well, where both sides are getting a ton of value. Even the free side. Guys, I don't ignore the free side. We have weekly events in there. We're doing portfolio reviews, you name it. So what are you guys waiting for? Join the free Discord now. Links are down in the description below. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So if we take a quick look at what James K. Filan did post over on X on the 4th, we have an update here. Ripple has filed a letter requesting a stay of the monetary portion of the court's judgment entered on August 7th, 2024. The SEC has consented to the request for a stay. Now, a lot of what we are seeing within this, a lot of you probably don't actually understand, and it's okay because I don't understand it either, because I am not a lawyer. In fact, I actually have some help from the actual lawyers in this space, like Fred Rispoli, for an example, and he actually did put out a great post regarding this. He put out 3 posts, actually. Number 1 is the SEC versus Ripple update. Well, the odds have increased of an appeal. Ripple and the SEC have agreed to an arrangement where 111% of monetary judgment will be held in trust to be paid to the SEC only on 1, 30 days after appeal deadline, or 2, after appeal concludes. This is not a guarantee that there will be an appeal, but putting that kind of money in a trust is not something that is done unless the SEC is being evasive to Ripple lawyers as to whether it intends on appealing. Again, still possible that no appeal happens, but odds have increased. Now, outside of that, we also have over here, and this is an update regarding the post from James K. Filan. We have, can you please explain this? And this is basically the explanation. Ripple, we have the check ready. Are you appealing this or not? The SEC, we can't tell you. Kind of like our entire crypto policy if you think about it. Ripple, we will collect all interest from you if we pay you. You appeal and we win. The SEC, let's enter an appropriate stay order then and we'll get back to you. That's basically what's happening here. So as we really look at what's going on here, it's the SEC dragging their feet as usual. It's the SEC playing the long game and trying to stretch this as long as they possibly can. This has been the thing around crypto for so long when it comes to the SEC. They want to halt it. They want to hold it up. They want to, hold it back from continuing to prosper and grow. But the problem with that idea is that outside of the US, it's not slowing down. They might slow it down in the US, but outside of the US, crypto is not being held hostage. In fact, all of these nations are continuing to embrace it, continuing to push forward. Just recently, MasterCard launched a crypto debit card in Europe, allowing users to spend from self-custodial wallets at 100 million merchants. Yet, what's happening in the US? No growth, nothing's happening around US. In the US, all that's happening is these discussions around what the SEC is doing and the litigation process, and it's an attack on all fronts to crypto. It's ridiculous. But also over here we have, to those freaking out over possible SEC versus Ripple appeal, don't. There won't be a ruling until 2026. The SEC suing exchanges and alleging multiple tokens as securities has lessened the sting dramatically. If Ripple and or XRP don't make it now, it's not because of the SEC's case. And yes, this is something that I want you all to understand. If we really look at Ripple and XRP, their success is not held to what the SEC is doing. If they fail, whether or not Ripple fails as a company, XRP fails as a digital asset, it's not because of the SEC anymore. It's not. The SEC, in my opinion, and I've said this many times over, holds basically no weight to their name anymore. With everything that the SEC has been doing for the last, 4 years since the inception of this lawsuit against Ripple, it has not only hurt the SEC's reputation, but it also has really kind of lessened the sting, if you will, just like Fred is saying here, because everything that the SEC does now is looked at as a joke. Everyone jokes about it. They don't care about the SEC. What the SEC does now has no weight. If we were talking about 4 years ago, yeah, sure, I would be like, yeah, this is concerning, but now it's not. So as we really look at this, yeah, I think that we really shouldn't worry about this case too much. Sure, will it, help institutional sales and things like that? Sure, it will, but regulations around crypto in general is what we are looking forward to seeing, not just, Ripple's name being cleared. We need full-on regulations for utility to thrive. If tomorrow this SEC case got put behind us around Ripple and XRP, what's really going to happen? Crypto is still not regulated. It's still in the uncertainty status, if you will, around institutions. When it comes to the SEC, though, I already gave you guys my opinion back in April of this year. And I said, the SEC has wasted over 3 years worth of time trying to argue a never-ending battle with Ripple, and it's still ongoing. The worst part is that billions of taxpayer money were also wasted during this battle. I didn't even mention the $15 billion in damages to XRP investors, and that was just from the announcement alone. We don't even know how much the damages actually are. Ripple dished out $200 million plus in legal fees, but just think about the missed opportunities. Imagine what that $200 million could have funded if it was utilized properly, not only to mention the $100 million plus in, the fine penalty that the SEC wants. But I said the saddest part about all of this is the argument that this entire battle was to protect investors. All I have noticed from this almost 4-year-long process is a corrupt government agency trying to back a nascent industry into a corner. There is a clear motive to pick winners and losers, but also someone is also being paid. It's sad that we are still in the middle of this over 3 years later. And yes, think about this, right? The number one thing that everyone is looking at when it comes to the SEC now is how corrupt they are and how they're attacking this industry. It's not about, they're actually trying to help us. No, it's now that they're trying to attack this space, they're trying to hold it back, and they're trying to kill it. That's the end goal here. And with this new news over here, we have news. The U.S. Federal Reserve has issued a cease and desist order to crypto-friendly United Texas Bank, citing major deficiencies in its risk management and compliance with anti-money laundering laws. This is exactly what we are looking at when it comes to the SEC. Operation Choke Point 2.0. It's still ongoing. It's still continuing, and crypto is still being attacked. We have down here, this is the source. This is from Cointelegraph. The Fed hits Texas Bank with cease and desist over servicing crypto firms. This is the same argument that they said about Custodia Bank, by the way. Risk management, it's the same exact argument. We have in a September 4th cease and desist order, the Fed said it had examined United Texas Bank in May and found issues with its corporate governance structure and oversights by the bank's board of directors and senior management. The examination identified significant deficiencies related to foreign correspondent banking and virtual currency customers, specifically risk management and compliance with applicable laws, rules, and regulations relating to anti-money laundering, including the Bank Secrecy Act. How comical is this? Notably, the order did not outline how the bank had not complied with regulations concerning its crypto clients. Again, zero transparency, zero clarity, the same exact thing that the SEC is doing. The Fed added that United Texas Bank had since taken further measures to strengthen its adherence to the Bank Secrecy Act and its anti-money laundering program. The order noted that the bank's board of directors had agreed to submit a formal plan to strengthen board oversight of its compliance with BSA and AML requirements. But this is just comical to me. Like, as we really look at what's going on here, this is an attack on crypto. Even down here, we have Dan Spuller, the head of affairs at crypto advocacy group Blockchain Association, said the cease and desist order against the United Texas Bank was the continuation of Operation Choke Point 2.0. And it is. Listen, this is the same argument for Custodia Bank. And I said this back in September of 2023. It was clear then. Okay? Chase UK will decline customer payments linked to crypto starting October 16th, the bank said in an email to clients. Remember, the big banks don't want you taking your money from your bank account and putting it into crypto. Very interesting. I said Chase UK is going to decline customer payouts linked to crypto starting on October 16th. This isn't new and could probably be linked to Operation Chokepoint 2.0. They want to cut off liquidity. They want to cut off any sort of funding that these banks want to provide to crypto. This is a complete joke. And by the way, Custodia Bank is firing back. August 29th, actually. Scoop, Custodia Bank laying off employees as Biden admin's crypto crackdown weighs on digital asset industry. Custodia Bank told staff about the cuts Thursday AM, citing an effort to preserve capital as it battles the Fed and Operation Chokepoint 2.0. I hate to see this. Listen, these smaller, players like Custodia Bank that are trying to push forward, trying to innovate, are getting choked off by the Fed, by the FDIC, by the SEC. All of these organizations, all of these agencies in the US are now being utilized to attack this industry. This is sad. Now, also over here, we have an 86-page denial order, the longest in Fed history. Caitlin Long highlights why she thinks the Federal Reserve's unprecedented denial of Custodia Bank was fueled by politics on Unchained Pod. Check this out.
I actually talked to somebody who was at the table, who I won't disclose that person's name, during that process, and explained to me what has become very clear as time went on and we see the rest of the crackdown on the crypto industry. This was all politically motivated. The 86-page order was the longest order in Fed history denying any applicant by a long shot, the longest one in the entire 115-year history of the Fed. Prior to that was 3 pages, and ours was 86. That tells you something right there. But what I found out was that it was entirely about crypto, and they were backpapering the file by saying all those things. And Laura, there were a lot of inaccurate things in that order that the Fed refused to correct. We actually filed a complaint with the Fed's Inspector General, which of course went nowhere. And they refused to correct the factual inaccuracies in that order. So it's nuts what happened. That was at the beginning. It was very confusing to us because we didn't know Operation Chokepoint 2.0 was in full swing. In retrospect, clearly that's what it was.
Now, also building on top of this, remember what she said back in August of 2023. This is on Thinking Crypto One's podcast. This was just from August of 2024. It's crazy that this is still ongoing a year later, by the way. Fed Chair Jerome Powell met with Sam Bankman-Fried for 1 hour ahead of the FTX acquisition of Farmington State Bank, yet the Fed denied Custodia Bank's application to become a member of the Federal Reserve System. Caitlin Long explains. Check this out.
So here's the thing. Alameda, the affiliate of FTX, acquired 80% of the equity of Farmington State Bank. And they being FTX, should have applied for approval from the Fed to make that acquisition, and they did not. Now, what is interesting, Jay Powell met with Sam Bankman-Fried for 1 hour just weeks before that March 2022 acquisition. I have no idea what they talked about. But like Larry Fink gets 15 minutes with him, but Sam Bankman-Fried gets an hour. The Biden White House, crystal clear, right? The whole all of government approach to crack down on the crypto industry in the United States. We have 2 players that are really the proverbial good guys. I would say Coinbase with the SEC and Custodia with the Fed, who did everything right, literally begged to become regulated. It's almost like the strategy of the government has been to particularly harshly treat those who did try to come in and work with them and did try to help them. So here's the thing.
So there you guys have it. And this is one thing that I have been very, very vocal about. The SEC letting Sam Bankman-Fried in, giving them the green light. All of this was planned. And I told you guys, FTX was a planted seed by the regulators, by the big players, to let it grow and grow and grow, work with the celebrities, get all this backing, then completely blow it, right? And all of a sudden, once it gets completely crumbled and all that money's lost, utilize it as an example to regulate this space in their way, aka taking all the control and giving it to the big players. Oh, you could trust JP Morgan, you could trust this big player, you could trust that. It's all nonsense. It's all garbage. That's all it is. And it's all for control. This is why they don't want these small players like Custodia Bank to be banking this industry. They want JP Morgan to be the big bankers banking this industry. They don't want these smaller players having any control. And this goes all the way back to the SEC lawsuit against Ripple and XRP. Guess what Ripple was doing? Guess what XRP was being utilized for? It was a weapon to completely destruct the monopoly system that was put in place by these big bankers that are getting rich off of the backs of everyone sending and receiving money. They didn't like that. You were targeting their lunch. These big players, they want to eat. They want to continue to eat. When you start messing with the food chain, all of a sudden, they're going to their big players. They're going to the ones that they have in their pockets. And they're saying like, hey, you guys need to go after this person. That you need to go after this company. This, that, whatever. All this is just an organized government mafia. That's all this is. This is a big problem. And it continues to become a much larger problem as it continues onward over a year later. This is nonsense. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, set notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.